Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Go. And boy, are we going, which is super exciting, super fascinating, and oh boy, brings so much up for us to talk about. So, today we're going to start off with a doozy of a concept. And I'm going to say it kind of broad spectrum and then let Renee jump in. But Renee and I were talking about this new availability of this field, I'll call it, of expansion, awareness, clarity, purity, and to kind of bring into your own awareness or into a conversation how basically everything that we have known and done is kind of old news now. There's a whole new level of what's available, which is super exciting. But also, the flip side of that is, and I'm going to say it this way because I think it's better to understand every expert out there in any field, and we'll use even spirituality and energy medicine, the top people in all the fields that have the greatest perspective and tools and modalities. It's kind of old now, or I'm just going to say it is old. It's old, which doesn't make it invalid or not longer useful, but to be aware and to open up to the fact, the possibility that, oh my gosh, now there's more. So there's a two prong there. And, we're always brought back to us. It's an inside job. Well, it starts with you. Well, everything out there is just information. Everything out there is just information. It's all relative to you, what's going on with you, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your perspective, which can be, well, wait, oh my God, what's the answer? Well, there is no answer. Well, what's right? That word is irrelevant because there is no right or wrong, because everything is going to be your reflection of what is relevant, pertinent, available for you. So this is a huge conversation. It's super exciting. Renee and I have a couple of examples to kind of fine tune in what we're talking about here. So what did I miss, Renee? Did I hit?
The whole aspect of people going into, like, you're looking for the expert. Let's look for the expert on this, whatever's going on with me. I'm going to go to the expert opposed to listening to just whatever, my friend that I'm talking to or whatever, because every single person is going to come at you with a whole different energy. They're coming in from their field, like, and when we're talking field, it's, this whole energy that's around and through us. And Tracy, I'd love you to use that whole example of how this field is changing, because that was such a great visual that you gave before we started recording of, like, okay, you're walking forward because everything's shifting and changing. So well, I guess I'll go backwards first before I say that. So if you're talking to somebody, right, and they're telling you, oh, well, here's what I think is going on, blah, blah, just because it's your friend or just because it's somebody that you don't know, really pay attention and listen, because if you're truthfully looking for an answer, you are going to draw people to you around you. They're going to say things that they might not even know. And I'll bet you every single one of you who are listening, I'll bet there will be a time where you'll be like, geez, I don't know how I said that. I don't know why I said that. Like, I don't know anything, because everybody's a channel, period, whether you think you are or not. Okay, so you're channeling through that true self that you truthfully are. You're channeling that answer for this person because you're both in that cohesive field. They're looking for an answer. But what that person tends to do is discard what you're saying because, well, you're just a friend or you're just an acquaintance, whatever. I'm going to go to the expert. I'm going to go to that expert and get the answer. Well, guess what? They're channeling the same thing and they've got the same fears, the same worries, the same concerns. They're possibly different. They're obviously going to be different than somebody else. And I think you've got a great story for that as well, Trace.
Yes. And so before I'm going to tell the story, but before it leaves, while you were saying that, everything is a live stream of intelligence right now. So if you are open to that live stream of intelligence, I just love this. You are attracting people, like you said, that are going to reflect to you I'm going to use the word intelligence, information, answers, whatever you want, that are you are needing, wanting, seeking for your highest, we're always looking for the highest trajectory, for the best version of who we really are, for truth, purity, freedom, all those amazing words. So if you're just talking to a friend and it's a comfortable conversation, that intelligence is really pure. But if you go to an expert who has been really ingrained in their tools, and this is how I do it, and this is what works, I see almost the circuits frying because that's not true anymore. It's not pure intelligence anymore because it's old stuff. It was great even 6 months ago because it was operating on the metrics of what was available. So everything else is in anyway. So that was pretty cool because I could just see the visual of, oh my gosh, your friend could have the purest source of intelligence because it's easy. It's a safe space. Whereas the expert, their information's distorted now. It's not up-to-date version and it's kind of jammed up with the old intelligence. So, okay, here's the story. I actually had I have a sink upstairs kind of in my office, and I have a water filter underneath. And I went to change the filter the other day and it had a leak. So I had all this mildew mold underneath there. So I was like, oh man. And then, don't, how long has it been here and all of this stuff. So I was talking with someone who's very knowledgeable about, frequency and DNA. And kind of we were just talking about, it's a conversation about, like I said, frequencies. And then the conversation moved into a situation of, well, gosh, mold is so dangerous. You better get that fixed and can get in your body and all these things. And I kind of did. I spiraled a little like, oh shoot, I was just going to wipe it out and be done with it. You know what I mean? So then I really had an internal struggle with myself of kind of like, oh my God, what am I, an idiot? I think I can just like develop this symbiotic relationship with mold and everything's going to be great. So I'm going to own it. I was like, shit, I better get an expert. And how do I know if there's mold in my system and blah, 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 blah. So I wake up in the morning and it was like, oh, and even, like I better buy an air purifier and, while knowing, talking to myself on my other side, what is your problem? Like, did you just threw everything that you think out the window and you're going to go with the fear thing? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. Do you know how dangerous mold is? Blah, blah, blah. So I wake up in the morning and it was very clear. What are you doing? Reframe your why. And I was like, what do you mean? Well, so why would you get an air purifier? Is it because you're scared because you have toxic air? Or is it because, no, you want to just ensure that your air is clean as possible? And sure, do a test to see if there's mold in your body, but why? Because you're scared that your body is, toxic? Or, no, I want my body to be as clean and pure as free as possible. This was so significant for me. Of course, I have to text Renee right away. Oh my God, reframe my why. Like my whole, holy shit, I got to do this, because to, I'm going to choose to do this because I want to be, I want to live a super clean, pure thing. And this is cool. So why wouldn't I do it? So there's so much juice in there of what's your why? Are you relying on experts? Where's your come from? What's your relationship with your body and your environment around you? And can you meet it as, hey, this might need a little cleanup, but I'm not going to freak out.
Mhm.
I'm going to come to it. Yeah, I'm walking into a whole new environment of clarity, purity, and freedom. And I'm going to go ahead and use this safety blanket or this, this accompaniment to get me there.
Yeah.
Okay, tag you're it.
Yeah, I love that whole aspect because exactly what you just said there at the end. I'm going to use the safety blanket. If we're buying into fear, it's okay to buy in, but to really stop and what, like you had said that before we started recording, stop and remember, oh, wait a minute, I'm remembering that, wait a minute, I don't have to buy into this. And you got the, great message. And then when she was saying, okay, do I need to use the safety blankets? Okay, do I need to use the safety blanket of I'm going to buy an air purifier because it's going to give me that little further peace of mind, piece of whatever within our systems to go forward. And we talked about this last week, Tracy, like, just, I mean, not, on the show or whatever, but we had talked about this where we're seeing all these little things that, I need to take an Advil. Well, why would I need to take an Advil? I shouldn't have to do. I don't know if I need that little bit of something to take it to give me that peace of mind and to say, okay, you know what? Yep, I'm buying fear, but I also am remembering. What we also have to remember is when we're taking things, and we talked about this a long time ago, Tracy, when we're taking things, your body, you're telling, if you have the intention, right? You're giving, like when I take an Advil. So I'll take an Advil and I will have that intention be that as I'm taking this, I talk to my body, right? Okay, we are remembering how to do this ourselves without this product because everything now is a remembrance. And when I do that, what I realized was I really haven't had an Advil in a long time. And like for a while there, it was like, oh my God, almost every day I was taking one. And I think my body finally got to that whole point of like, oh yeah, no, we remember how to do this. We don't need to. So the minute something kicks in, it automatically overrides it. And it's like, oh no, she's not going to need this. We're going to override that point. And you had said something in the beginning, you started talking, and it reminded me of something we had said before we went on. Because the energy is always shifting and changing, and because we are continually moving forward, the same energy that we're in right now, that you're hearing this right now, by the time that this whole conversation is over, all of us have moved into a new energy field, a new aspect, and a new point, right? So it's that point of the energy is always looking for new connectors. I don't remember exactly how you said that before off camera, but that's exactly what's happening. You have to think of all these little, I'm going to go back to your magnetic things of all the little feelers, run out right and reconnecting. It's that same thing. Okay, now you've changed and you shifted. You're in that, what we used to refer to as the comfort zone, right? Oh, this is comfortable. And now I'm going to do this. No, we are continually shifting and changing. Every single minute of every single day, there's this pure energy that is looking for the pure connectors. It doesn't want to connect into all the old stuff. It doesn't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Remember and recognize, what story are you going with? Are you going with the story of I'm broken, I need to be fixed? Or are you going with that whole story of, no, we're changing, we're shifting. I'm not the same that I was when I walked into work today. I'm not the same that I walked out of work. I'm not the same when I walked to lunch. Everything is shifting and changing. Stay up with it. Continually asking or allowing yourself to connect in to the new connectors and to really download all of that information. And when you're talking to somebody, when you're going to somebody, recognize and feel what feels right to your body, to what is actually really resonating, and stop looking for what you believe to be an expert. Because that expert might be exactly, however you said that, Tracy, in my version is, it might not be what you need to hear. It might be somebody that you've gone to continually and continually and continually to get yourself the answers, or to get into that beautiful energy that you once felt in there. And now if you really feel it, it's not that same energetic feel. Something is missing. The missing piece is you're not going within you. You're not getting that answer from you. You're allowing everybody else to do it. And what you always have to remember, whatever's happening out here in your life is all a reflection of what's going on inside. So you're not really going to get an answer there, or you might get a piece of the answer. They're always giving you the information, but you've got to come back in. And I don't know if you remember how you said that off air, Tracy, because it was so perfect.
So, and I'm going to start using this for myself because it is so cool. And there's a two-prong analysis of it per se. So I was saying to Renee, in those movies where they're up really high on scaffolding and they're running and all the scaffolding is crumbling behind them and they're trying to stay ahead of it. So to know that your story, and let it literally be crumbling behind you so you cannot hook back into it, knowing that the story ahead of you is so much better, that you're not leaving anything behind, you're just always you're just in a, and it's so, I love the fast forward motion of the new you, the better, I don't even like these words, better, but and let it crumble behind you. And also simultaneously, speaking to experts, and it's pretty much anyone you talk to, the old information, which is the old, energy, architecture, structuring, it's crumbling, which is awesome because we are, we can do better, we can be better, there is better. Um, these experts out there in any field, their architecture, their structure, their scaffolding, it's crumbling as well. So they're going to keep, no, well, this, the experts say, the science say, yeah, but it doesn't anymore. Did you see in your rearview mirror? That's not true anymore. So there, and what's ahead of us is so exponentially awesome that, can you hear that?
No,
Oh, okay. Sorry. My phone, I had my phone off.
that's the nice thing about Zoom.
Hey,
It sort of shuts out all the background noise. I don't know how it does it, but it does it awesome. Because you're not hearing my dog barking up there either.
which is so awesome too, because you don't have to turn anything off. But I'm like, shoot, I can hear that. And that's irritating. Okay, back to the story. Don't let that interference energy get in your way. Ooh. So, but anyway, we talk about things and I'm going to use it. Like, don't hook back into that. I mean, all this stuff that is supportive and loving and good, that doesn't crumble. That doesn't go away. It actually accentuates and expands. So don't even go into the, well, what about the good stuff? Well, the good stuff is here. That's not going anywhere. Amplify that. Take that with you. So it's kind of, Renaé and I talked about there is no right answer, which can be horrifying. No, I want to know what's right. What is the answer? Well, what if it's not? It's pure creation. You're in charge. You steward the ship. And trust me, I'm not saying it's easy, but when you get triggered, when you get the emotional lashback at you, because that's what everyone's doing right now. Any person that's giving you anything that puts you into fear or doubt, it's an opportunity. And I know I hate when people say that. Oh, shut up. It sucks. But it is. So, like, well, what are you going to do? What do you think? What do you really know? And to let yourself spiral for a little bit, because I'm a fan of that. Just give me half a day. I'm going to spiral. I'm going to throw a tantrum. I'm going to be a wreck. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. I think there's value in that. And then, all right, what do I want? What do I really want my life to look like? And I'm going to be the one that's going to claim responsibility. I'm going to own it. I'm going to claim it. What am I going to do? And then I love this because I just did it with my mold extra guy. Put your little magnetics out. And sure enough, all I did is put like, I love stories. That's why I'm telling you this. Sure enough, there's this retired guy. He lives in my county, which is not a big county. I'm not in a big city. Clean home. Like that's my jam. I don't want the mold experts. I want the, of a clean home. Shows his picture. He lives right there and it's a feeling. And I'm like, thank you. Oh my God. He literally lives in Brevard County. It's just him. Look how sweet he looks. Got a phone call with him tomorrow. And these are the things like set the intention. And I don't know. Anyway, I'll stop there because I've talked a lot and Toby wants in on the conversation.
Yeah, I love when I saw Toby's head earlier pop in.
Right, buddy, right here. Come on. All
Well,
right, Renaé,
but what I love about that is and I do the same thing, everybody. Don't think that, we're sitting there like, oh my God, this is what you got to do. It's not easy. I do the same thing. I will start to spiral. I'll just think, like I said, give myself half a day, sometimes a day. And I'm like, okay, I got to come out of it. Because you can live in that very easily. That's the fear. You want to live in that fear. And we're not saying that's wrong. If you want to live in that fear and go down there, that's okay. That's the path you're choosing to take. Like, take it. We're not judging that. We're holding the space for you so that when you decide to come out, you can make that giant leap forward into, okay, because what happens is when the energy is continually shifting and changing, right, you can be, and now I won't even say, I'll say, okay, so I'll be in this fear. Well, the energy is not going to stop, right? The energy is changing and shifting. So it may be way up here and I'm way back here and I'll put myself down because I'm grounding into all that fear. Well, the minute I have that realization that, okay, you know what, I got to get out of this. All right, what am I doing? Because that's the biggest thing. I think sometimes you don't know what to do. When you start inspiring, you're doing that thing, you have no clue. Like, okay, well, what do I do? This is what I've always known. This is where I'm going to be. But the minute you have that awareness, I'm like, okay, now what? And I don't even know that I'm consciously saying to whoever that, to channeler who comes in, I'm just saying, okay, now what? Now what do I do? Sort of like, putting that up there. It's really interesting to me how, if I'm really paying attention to the body, the emotion of that somehow disconnects a little. I'm not as emotional in that aspect. And that's a key component. We have to get out of the emotional tie-in, because the emotional tie-in is what's going to pull us into the human belief system, the human elements that are, well, this is fear and I don't know the answer. Well, of course we don't know the answer. This is what we've been living in. Now we're going to leap into a whole new energy field. So the minute you say that, I'm like, and I always say thank you. I'm like, oh, thank you, because I can feel that little bit of shift. Okay, and it's like, okay, any of you don't feel the shift, know that the minute you have that thought, you got to get out of this, you shift it, period. So whether you're recognized or not, so always recognize that aspect. And then if you're saying, or you're thinking something like, however you say that, like, okay, now I'm going to move forward. What I've seen from an energetic point, and not that I always see things for me, but a couple of them have been pretty substantial. I must have been pretty deep into it, that I see the energetic leap into this whole other field. And if I take a deep breath in and exhale out, because that's how I reset my body, if I do that, then I can feel my whole field almost like a big vacuum, sucking out all the old stuff. And it's like this breath of fresh air that just comes, like, that I really sometimes have to take a really deep breath, like, oh my God, because it's your body knows, right? So that huge deep breath that I'm not consciously taking comes in, and you can feel it all going into your whole body, because you're taking in the new energy, the new field. The connectors, we're looking for that pure field. They're connected into that pure field. Now it's your choice. What story do you want to do? If you don't know this story because you've never walked this path, first of all, number one, you'll probably be very cold. So if anybody's been going through some really cold, like, oh my God, I'm so cold, I can't get it. They always say, that's because you've never, ever, in any of lifetimes, you've never walked that path before. And isn't that what this energy is? Isn't that the whole thing is, they always keep saying, you guys have not walked this path before. You're creating a new way of being, a new world, a new existence, whatever word you want to use for that. So we're moving forward in that way. And we're going into this beautiful energy of who and what we are, and what we are creating for the world. Because remember, you're not just shifting and changing you're changing the energetic field around you, which then hooks into all these other energetic fields of, like-minded, like I'll say like-minded, and they're saying it's really not, because every single person is different, but you know what I mean? So it's the point that all they connect in, and then it just starts to zoom around the world. So we're always shifting and changing, and they're just making a point right now. If you're going through, if you're all of a sudden feeling lonely, or you're feeling exhausted, or just like there's something missing, I don't know what I want to be. That's this energy. That's this new field. You've let go. Well, we as a consciousness, they're saying, have let go of a huge old human element field that grounded us into trauma and drama. I'm saying, and now and they're showing it like, here is this big field, and it's just heavy, just feels heavy, like metal. Okay, they're feeling that dropping off, and this, like, we're just like lifting up, and this is all light, but you're showing like all this beautiful light lifting up. And some people still have some roots going from here to here, but what's going to happen, they're saying, is when you make that conscious decision, this whole heavy piece, it's not literally dropping. We're not losing it. What's going to happen is going to circle back around, and it's going to come up and join the light. It's going to meld together as one. And they're saying that's one of the big things. We used to be able to release the energy, and that's really interesting if you think about it in this energetic field, that we used to be able to release the energy. It would flip over and change, but it didn't ever really meld into what we are now. What it would do is it would go down into an energetic field of the earth, and the earth would transcend and transmute it, and then it would just come up into the earth. Now what's happening is we are bringing it into our own field. we're no longer allowing, oh, I guess that makes sense. We're no longer allowing Mother Earth to transcend. It's like we have to. So it's always going to come back around. You will no doubt recognize some of the energy to it, they're saying. And that's probably, they're saying that because some of the people are probably feeling that now, like, oh my God, why am I going through this again? I thought I cleared it. I thought I healed. I thought I did this, all these little stories. But it's because it's coming back around for you to truthfully own it, look at it, recognize it, step into it. You're never going to, and heal is not the right word, but that's the human word I'm going to use. You're not going to heal this component of you until you step right into it. And what is this fear? I'm choosing to bring this light. Now, I don't know if you're seeing this, Tracy, but they're showing this, I don't know, this junky energy, and they're showing somebody walking right in the middle of it. And as they're standing in the middle, all of this is just falling apart. Just like you were saying, the scaffolding, it's all just deteriorating because you're owning it. You're owning that particular component, and now you're able to move forward from that. And what happens is, as all these little things fall out, they're actually falling into your foundation. And they're saying it's not the old foundation, right? Meaning the way we used to see it. This foundation is right within our bodies. It's falling into the foundation, but it comes up new. And then I'm just seeing all these beautiful flowers and this big sunflower coming. So like the person's head is just a big sunflower. So it's coming back into who and what you truthfully are and allowing yourself to be there. But don't get stuck in thinking, oh, I can't do this because I have this, again, whatever this is. Okay, if it's a fear, if it's a worry, if it's a health thing or whatever, really step in and recognize. And if you need that safety blanket of a doctor over whatever, of a guru, but do not buy that 100%. You remember, the body is a miraculous thing. Take it in to you, and you take it to that next level. Okay, I've talked a ton. Does that make sense? And go.
Yeah, and this is all, and this goes back to there's a lot, so many people saying really valuable stuff, and it's all the looping patterns. And this is the best way I can explain it. I've seen it this way. And a while back, I was getting, well, your presence in the process alchemizes the process. So, and I do believe this is newly available and newly possible that, yeah, we did heal, all the things to get by stuff. But, and again, we were stuck in this looping process. So it was still out there in the field. I really think now is the time and opportunity. Okay, this is it. It's coming back at us. Let's walk right through it, because now that pure field that you spoke of, it really wasn't available before. We thought it was. And I've heard people speak to this. This is why I'm so joyful, because I will say I have been seeing this stuff, writing about it, and I would be all the time, don't tell me this stuff if it's not true. Or don't tell me if it's true 10 years from now. I don't care. I want it now, But now, and I say this to Renaé, I'm like, oh my God, are we talking about this? Is this available? This is true. Not to get hooked into, well, because they said so, it is true and it is available. But the more we all collectively see these things, it is available in our field. So it's exciting to me, because the more people that are seeing it and talking about it, that means it's there, it's visible, and super exciting. Um, and I just love this thing of, I felt it all for the past 20 years. I'm like, yeah, but it's still the loop. Well, the loop has been broken. So now it's on us to be like, oh yeah, that loopy thing, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going right in. I'm going right in, and I'm going to meet it. I'm going to meet it with all that I got and let it dissolve. And the more we all do it, the more that field is more available. It's easier. It gets so exciting and cool. And I will say that, Renaé, you talked about it, how you open up to this field and it's just pure. And if you're getting the cold, I can think of a few examples, the mold being one of them, where I can feel myself in the spiral, and I feel it in my body, and I feel it in my mind and my emotion. And it's just like, yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but, you're like drowning in all the things a little. And then I'm not kidding you. It will be a day later and I will be like, what was I thinking? And I was watching this cute movie yesterday, and I could be quoting this wrong, but the one girl was making fun of the other's boyfriend, and she was like, he's like a walking Valium, which, he's boring. He's like the blah. And I was like, that's kind of like, it's almost like this liquid calm and reassurance washes over you. And I'm like, how in the heck was I in that spiral? Like, how did I even get there? How was that even available? With this feeling that I have now, I don't even know how I reached that level of, ah, which I kind of love. It sucks when you're in it, but it's that drastic and it's that quick, which I'm sharing. It's that exciting. And it's funny. I love that you brought up with the Advil. I said to Renee, I'm like, I don't even know when the last time I took an Advil was. Like they were my BFFs. Like, oh my gosh. So to look back on those, oh wows, I didn't even realize. I had no idea it's been that long. Those are such victories. And once you like put awareness on them, it's almost as if like, okay, let me show you the next victory. Do you realize that you haven't done this either in a while? Oh my gosh, holy shoot, I was getting those achy legs at night. Oh my God, I haven't really had that anymore. So anyway, it starts to get exponentially more fun, more cool, more victorious. And
Mhm.
then instead of going this way in a spiral, like this way of a spiral actually accelerates this way, which I know everyone wants to say, do we have to have that part? Well, I don't know. Maybe right now we do, but just let it be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, eventually we won't have to have that part. Right now,
Right.
that's in the overall field.
Because the scaffolding, that's part of the scaffolding that's very rapidly dismantling behind us.
Yep, absolutely. And I want to jump back to when you had said, like, when you said, don't give me the stuff because you write about all the stuff in your books and all that. And if what I love is you always date things. Okay, so you said, don't give me stuff, if it's not true. I want it now. Well, what's really interesting to me is when you're writing, some of these things are what 10 years old or more, and they're happening now. So, like, you're always in the forefront, Tracy. So she's always seeing. That's why I love reading your books, and they're just these really quick little things. It's not like you've got to read the whole book, right? It's these quick little 1 page, sometimes 1.5 page things. That's it. But what I love about that is you're always giving me something that I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Because I've read it, if I'm paying attention, I will feel a shift within me. It's like every time we're having a conversation, we're opening up a whole new field. Everybody that's listening, you're stepping into a whole new field. So if you're feeling whatever, a little whatevered, it's because you're stepped into this new field. So acknowledge that, allow yourself to be. And if you read Tracy's books, you're doing that same thing. Any book that you're reading, they're saying that is bringing you into a new awareness, a new way of thinking. Even if you read it, you're like, oh, this is bullshit. This isn't. No. Well, first of all, you're paying attention to what is resonating with you. So good. You shouldn't be taking everything as, oh my God, this is what worked for this person. This is great. This is going to work for me. As you know, it's not, because I'm sure if you guys are like me, I've had a ton of different books and all these different courses that, guess what, didn't work for me, but I got what I needed from it. I never really probably finished any of them. I think I probably finished two out of, my God, many, many. But it's because I got what I needed. And I didn't stick in there to get the rest of the stuff that would have, now I can recognize, that would have really brought me down a whole different path. Because I have a question, I would have done it. When you get what you get, that's it. What I also love about your books, Tracy, is there is such an energetic feel. There's such an energy to them. I will have them next to side of my bed. Sometimes I'll be drawn to put one under my pillow or put one in between the box spring and the mattress. The one time I had all your books like spread out in between the box spring and mattress. And when I got to bed, I'm like, oh, I feel this. And I'm like, I wonder if Mark will be able to sleep. But she was, and I was good because it's going to affect him too. But you're in the forefront. So you're writing about things that really are such insights for us. And as we're reading those, or just have that page open and looking at it, because there have been some that I will look at and I'm like, how am I not seeing these words? I see the words on the page, but I cannot read them. And then I just hear, because you're taking the energy in. The energy is moving you into a new field, into a new frequency that needs to be. You don't need to see the words. So it's really interesting to me how, when you're saying, well, I want this to be now, it was now for you, we're now going through it. And if anybody's reading anything or you're getting something and you're like, is this true for me? Is this true for the world? It might not be true for the world. It might be true for you in your path. Recognize that, because the individuality of everybody now, they're saying, is coming into light in a very big way. So your individuality and who and what you are, it's really important to stand strong in that. And, stand in your conviction is how they're saying it, because you standing in that is starting to be a symbiotic relationship in the overall consciousness, because it's all as everybody stands in their own way of being, that's what creates the whole shift. And they're showing like the circle out here and then this internal core just exploding with light and everything. And again, once it explodes, it comes around and it comes up into everything. Yeah, that's really cool. Like, I don't know if you're seeing that. Is that cool?
That is so cool because, well, two things came in. I love the Iron Man analogy that we all have it's my favorite thing. I reference it all the time. That we have internal data and we have external data. And every individual, that data is different. Even if we're in an external, like I'm analyzing my external environment around me, if you were sitting right in my chair, yours would present differently because it's nothing is ever the same. The data points, they're vast in trillions, but it's really cool and complex. But I feel like the more we honor and see our own individuated, I call them data points, I'm going to call them that. It's this whole, like you just spoke to it, it's this whole web system, and our individual lights are so pure and powerful, it lights everything up. Whereas if we're trying to operate under other people's data, like, or what we're told, oh no, this is what your data footprint looks like, it's not that bright. They're all so similar that they're not. Uh, anyway, I hope I said that, but when you were saying that, I was like, oh my God, wow, look at that. It's so brilliant and vast and complex because we're all owning our own unique vibration. You hear all these words, our own unique soul frequency signature vibration. It's so available right now. We just have to own our own and create our own. And it I know you see it, Renee. All of a sudden, everything is lighting up, which also amplifies. It gives everyone else. It's like if I'm shining so bright and you're in my field, it's almost like you can be like, oh, oh, and then you light up.
Yeah.
Super
And
cool.
when you were saying that, they said, watch out for people that are trying to diminish your life. Like, watch out for somebody saying to you, well, I'm a high vibration. You got to get there, or something like that, because it's not. I've always seen everybody on the same plateau. We're just moving around that plateau. Everybody's just moving like that. We might be here, you're here, but then eventually we move places and something, then we join. Never, ever put anybody in a pedestal. Never think that somebody is a higher vibration than you or a better vibration than you. Again, stand in the conviction of whom what you are. You are a high vibration in your consciousness in your field. And they said, remember, as everybody's clearing, you're clearing for the consciousness in your field. So whatever you're going through, as you're changing and shifting, you're not just changing and shifting for you now, you're changing for everybody in the world in that same field, that same conscious field. So if you're saying, oh my God, I'm going through all this bullshit again and again, no, don't think of it. Think of like, oh my God, I'm changing and shifting, and I'm changing everybody in the field for me. So, and everybody's doing the same thing. Don't think you're the only one working. Everybody in that field is. So even here, like as we're doing this, every single person listening, you're shifting and changing for a whole entire consciousness, because every one of us is different. Tracy's changing for the consciousness of everybody in her field. I'm changing the consciousness of everybody in my field. You're changing the consciousness for everybody in your field. And so as a whole, we're coming together as this beautiful oneness and shifting the whole. Yeah, I say overall consciousness, and it's such a small word now compared to what it really is. And there's no word for it, but feel it. Feel what we're saying, and for what the energy is to that. And you'll be amazed. You have something to say to that, Trace?
Yeah, I'm going to infuse the fun, the real life stuff.
Yes.
So before we started, when you do Zoom, you have these light things, and I'm in a room that I know are in. But Renee, I'm like, there's a little controller thing. And look how I can change my lighting. So before we went on, I love this stuff. Renee and I were talking about your light. And is anyone right or wrong? No, but isn't it hysterical that before we started recording, I'm like, Renee, what looks best? What's the good lighting? And this is what we're talking about. There's no, I don't know, like what's the setting that's needed for today? And I love how you said there's no like higher, lower, good or bad. Like really, there is, and I was like, just like with the lighting that we were talking about before we started recording. And this stuff always happens to Renee and I, do we not? Like we always get the funny, like real life example that we were just the actors in the scene. And then we come on, and I'm like, oh my God, you can't make this stuff just will crack you up. And if you own the fun of it, you can see that, right? The light changing.
Yeah.
I don't know. This stuff cracks me up.
It
This
is.
is
It's all about fun. Life is
real.
about fun. We gotta infuse fun into things. Otherwise, oh my God, how boring.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's my fun twist to it.
Exactly. I think that's all I got for today. Anything else? Anything else coming to mind?
I think that's a lot. I think that's good.
Yeah, yeah. So everybody like own your stuff, stand in it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and we did speak to about having maybe some Q&As or some
Yeah.
guests. So maybe we will get that rolling if everyone thinks that that's something that's cool to happen. I think it would be fun to have.
Oh my God, yeah.
So maybe coming your way soon.
Yeah, yeah. If you think it's a good idea for us to have a Q&A where you're all joining us on Zoom and asking us the questions, and we'll do that because we'll just do it on Zoom and then post it. That'll be great. Like let us know in the comments. And I did notice that we've got, like, if I look at the analytics, and that's not something Tracy and I do. We are not into the numbers and the stuff. We just don't get it. But somebody was like showing me how to do the analytics. I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. But I was like, oh my God, a lot of people are watching this, but we don't have a lot of subscribers. So if you like this, hit the subscribe and the little bell button to be notified. You have to click on the bell and then hit all so that when we post something, you get notified. And leave us a comment or and like it, things like that. And Tracy, do your like so we can see if it'll. There. Thanks for that reminder. And then anything else, any questions? If you don't want to ask a question, by the way, you can email us or put it in the chat and we'll answer the questions as well. And other than that, I will just leave everybody with that. All right, everybody, have an awesome everything, and let us know what you thought. Any questions, also leave them. We do get back to you. Bye.